Matt, we've got company.
Hang a left and hit it! Try to lose them.
Hell no!
You can't go back 2 years from before the podcast.
Why not? It's the only time I ever felt right.
The only time you ever felt right.
It's not what you think.
We've made so many enemies with our reviews and hot takes. You've got to stop Buddy Shotz.
It'll be over soon.
No, it won't be any different after this episode, even if you survive. It's over for us, Mike. It's finished. If you love the buddies, please don't let us watch you commit suicide. Not anymore.
Deep in my heart there's a vengeance. The fury still burns in my mind. The only way out of this nightmare is laying my life on the line. Just like I'm back in the jungle, where only the strong can survive. They'll try to break the will of a man, but the law's in my hand and I'm dead out alive. Fight fire with fire, with the force of thunder and steel. When it's down to the wire, it's strike the blow and go for the kill. 'Cause there ain't no easy way out when the flames get higher. Taking a stand, feeling the heat, fight fire with fire. Out of the shadows of darkness, straight from the fires of hell. No longer an angel of mercy, my soul to the devil I'll sell. Staring in the eye of danger, fighting alone in the street. Just like a hurricane out of control, I'm not gonna stop, I'll never retreat. Fighting fire with fire, with the force of thunder and steel.
Welcome to hell! This is Steele Justice.
There's no justice like Steele justice.
You don't recruit the buddies, you shoot them. It's like, what the fuck? This is one.
You don't recruit Gloria, you leash her.
She's like, woof. So this is Buddy Shotz 122, Martin Cove week.
Nice. One of our favorites.
Yes. Best, well, I would say probably, but best known for The Karate Kid and Cobra Kai
Rambo 2?
franchise. Yes. I'd say probably Karate Kid, but he's done a bunch of other stuff, like you said, like Rambo, Steel Justice. He was in those Hulk Hogan movies that we're probably going to watch at some point.
Oh,
on the
yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, those were great.
And
He was in
a bunch of other stuff, too.
Last House on the Left.
Oh,
Have
really?
you ever seen that?
Uh-uh.
It's like one of those very extreme horror movies.
I've heard of it, and I know that there's, like, some gross shit happens.
Yeah,
in
it was one of Wes Craven's first movies. But John Kreese, like, there's a subplot with, like, these bumbling cops.
Yeah.
And he's one of the cops, and it's,
Oh,
like,
nice.
really weird. But yeah, Martin Cove's awesome.
He's
Loved
our
him ever since the first Karate Kid.
other guy that we always talk about on here besides Thomas Ian Griffith for being, like, the two villains from the Karate Kid universe.
And I was not disappointed in Cove Week.
Hell yeah.
It was great. Great choices.
Fuck. Yes! So, this is a call out and list today, and subscribe on the Buddy Shotz here on our official page. Become a buddy. Also, we want to hear your thoughts on each week's stuff, so if you're watching this and you feel so inclined, we'd like to hear what you thought of, like, Cagney and Lacey and Steel Justice, if you yourself have actually seen these films. and stuff. So poll time once again. Can you guess if people have seen these or not? What would you think?
No.
Yeah, it's 100% on both. If people have seen Steel Justice or Cagney and Lacey, I was a little bit more surprised for Cagney and Lacey because it was actually a show that ran for like several seasons.
A known show.
Yeah,
but everyone should see Steel Justice, as we'll talk about.
Yes. So speaking of Cagney and Lacey, let's get into it for the weird watches this week. There is no real, sadly, Martin Cove-led TV show. So I had to get creative here, and I looked and I saw, okay, so he's in 100 and something episodes, and he's pretty much in every single episode of this show, and I was like, what the hell is he in this show? He plays one of the fellow cops in the Precinct alongside Cagney and Lacey, the two main women police officers, and yeah, he's just, I guess he's a reoccurring character, and yeah, I watched the very first episode called You Call This Plain Clothes. So, but Cagney and Lacey was a TV show that came on in 1982. It's about like two women police officers in New York that become detectives when they make like a bust of this like big drug person, and they kind of show it off just in the opening credits, which is pretty sweet that they just do that and get it out of the way. And let's see here, the two main actresses, Sharon Gless and Tyne Daly, even though the first season was like Meg Foster.
Oh, I was gonna say, wait a minute.
Yeah, she was, and then
she was only in the first season.
First little bit. Yeah.
She got replaced.
Yes.
I wonder why.
I don't know. I know there's something about that, but I just, for some reason, I didn't look into it too much. It says when the show was revived for a full season. Okay, so the first season was like kind of like The Walking Dead, where it was like 6 episodes or 8 episodes, and then when it got like revived for a full season run, Glass took over for like that character.
It says a CBS spokesperson said Gless replaced Foster because the audience had trouble telling the two leads apart. Which, that is the most bullshit I've ever heard, because Meg Foster has like one of the most distinctive faces
it's also like
I've ever seen.
The characters were completely different in the show. One's like has a husband who's like a stay-at-home dad and is essentially like pretty progressive for like the time. The other one is like she's super career focused, and she's like pretty much doesn't have, she wants to like not even have anything to do, but she's like she pretty much just sacrifices like her partner, not her partner, but she like leaves her out to try to like become the star in this episode. So it's like she's like, I want to be a star or whatever, that kind of a thing. And she, the mom or whatever cop is like, would rather just do her job, and then when she's done for the day, just leave. So, which there's nothing wrong with that, but like, yeah, I completely, that's shocking.
Yeah, I really like Meg Foster.
It just sounds like bullshit to me, like you said.
She was in They Live. She's great in that, but she was really great in Lords of Salem. We'll see our previous episode, where she was like the lead old crone. But Meg Foster has like the most, like,
that word crone.
She has like the most piercing eyes of any human being I've ever seen. It's really cool.
She's just very, I don't know, she looks older than she is in this episode. I think that's just how she looks, but she looks older than she is, and that's how she looks.
And I only know Tyne Daly from, she was the partner in one of the Dirty Harry movies. It's like, he's partnered with a woman? Uh-oh. But I haven't really seen her in much else.
Yeah,
so.
I hadn't seen her in anything.
So what'd you think of Cagney and Lacey?
I thought it was pretty good.
Me too.
Yeah.
It was better than I thought. Like I think it held up.
I thought it was just going to be some random throwaway crap.
I liked the characters. I liked their crew, including Martin Cove. He was great.
If you're looking for Martin Cove, I have it time-stamped here. Each time he shows up.
I thought the mystery was at least interesting. It
yeah,
wasn't
the
best thing ever, but it was like enough to hold my attention. Make me want to see more.
Yeah, it was a good first episode for for this show, even though I think they did like a TV movie first that then got them like, you know.
Looks like they had a reunion in the 90s too. So
yeah, I think there was a bunch of stuff like that, like a bunch of reunions and stuff, or TV movies or whatever they did as well.
Wow, they both won Emmys for the show.
Emmy Woot.
Nice.
I have a couple notes here about, especially for the times. Lacey was wearing Rubik's Cube earrings. When
I didn't notice that. That's awesome.
Prostitutes to go undercover. I liked Harvey, her husband, stay-at-home dad. I thought it was very cool.
Even when he yelled at Meg Foster?
Especially.
Like, quit talking about work.
I was like, good. Shut her the hell up.
It's like, that's rude, dude.
When she comes into his house and starts talking, how dare she? No, yeah, it was kind of weird to like, it'd be like, I guess if you had like a wife and you guys came over and me and you started, we were talking about work, and then I was like, well, no, it would be like she would tell one of us to shut up, like me. I'd be like, yeah, it is kind of fucked up. I'm trying to think if there's anything else here.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a
good show
above average
overall.
cop show.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to think of another buddy cop show with 2 female leads, and
This is probably
think of
like,
any.
Yeah, the penultimate one, because I've definitely heard of this show before.
Mm-hmm. I liked it.
As far as like police detective shows, is it the best out there? No, not in my opinion, but it's definitely better than the average. We've seen some stuff on here before, and I'm sure we'll see stuff in the future that's better or worse than this, but I think we've seen far more worse than better, if that makes sense. But I think that's also because we kind of go out of our way to
Puchinsky.
find stuff. Puchinsky. Cop Rock. Yeah, my bar is pretty much set for like the best of all time is definitely Columbo for like police shows. But if anybody else has anything out there that they like, it's up there. Let me know.
Cool.
Martin Cove in this episode has a reoccurring character where he's like an undercover bum and he's hanging out in the streets and stuff.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
He made friends with the other dude that was on the street.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, I thought that was funny that he was in the streets. He's a cop in the sheets, but a bum in the streets. It's like, what? Or wait, is that how that goes? Or
Yeah, but
I mean, that's not how the lyrics
He's only
go.
a cop in the sheets.
I'm a cop in the sheets and a bum in the bed. Wait. Never mind. So yeah, anything else to say? I think we've said enough.
Yeah.
Not enough, but we've said what we should say and what we can say.
I'm disappointed they replaced Meg Foster, but
I just think it's a weird reason. I mean, like, if she had other obligations, that's completely fine, but like, I wonder why, like you said, like, the reasoning is a bullshit reason.
yeah. Maybe the other actress is better, but I won't find out.
You're like, old crones or nothing. So, not speaking of old crones, speaking of Steele Justice.
Steele Justice.
Feature presentation. So, this film came out in 87, so we're still in the 80s here. Directed by Robert Boris and starring Martin Cove, Sella Ward, Bernie Casey, a bunch of other people too, that kind of made this like ensemble cast. And I watched this twice. I watched it once without the commentary, and then I watched it again with the commentary. And one of the things that they talked about that kind of became apparent was how integral Martin Cove was to essentially getting this whole movie made.
Really?
Yeah, like any of the big people in this movie, like he essentially was instrumental in getting them into the film. So like
cool.
old like the old school people and stuff. And I like how Ronnie Cox has looked the exact same for like 50 years. He looks the exact same on Stargate SG-1. He looked the exact same in this movie, and I was like, dude.
Deliverance?
Yes, exactly. It's like, So, we've got a pretty basic but great plot here for Of the Times or any action film. So Steele, John Steele, he's an ex-cop and Vietnam vet who is determined to bring down Quan, the former South Vietnamese general and now rich and powerful drug lord who just so happens to kill the absolute shit out of his partner's family and his partner.
Twice.
Yes. Or wait, what?
So I timed it, within the first 28 minutes, his partner gets machine gunned down twice.
Oh, yeah, but he only kills him once. Yeah. I was like, huh?
You basically, yeah. I was like, come on.
That time he killed him twice, I was like,
He has 2 death scenes, but he survives the first one.
Yeah, and he actually kind of survives the second one just so that he can die. So we got Martin Cove backlit in red. Looks like an undercover operation going down here.
The first 5 minutes of this movie are the greatest movie I've ever seen. Because you have
are the greatest movie.
Hashtag.
Hell yeah, dude.
Because you have this awesome score where there's jingle bells for some reason. But it's still badass. And then it has the logo comes in. It's like...
Santa just put you
Steele
on his
justice.
good list. He's like, jingle bells? Oh, but awesome. Okay. Matt, good. You're just like,
I love anytime the logo makes noise when it comes down. And then it turns red and it's like, wow.
What would you do if the logo came up and it was just like, fuck? Would you be like, huh?
But just the logo alone made me stand up and cheer. It was so cool. And then the first shot is Martin Cove on a hovercraft with a snake, wearing a snake as a necklace. And I'm like, dude, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen, ever. It's so cool.
I really didn't understand what was going on for the first, couple minutes, but it was pretty great regardless. It was just kind of like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Like you described, there's a red, black, and white snake, which is highly venomous.
It's his pet, his buddy.
Yeah, but you don't find that out until 15 minutes later. We got Evil Dead Fall going on here.
Yeah.
Original score, Misha Segal, in relation to Steven.
What did you think of the score in this movie?
I thought it was great. It was very
it was awesome.
It was a lot of... You could tell they took
Synthesizers
a lot of Karate Kid influences.
It's very 80s, but it works really well.
Yeah, it's definitely Karate Kid style. Back to back in Underground. So if you guys are following along here, it's 6 minutes. They go underground into this Vietnamese tunnel, which is way bigger on the inside because Martin Cove is so tall in real life. Well, that's what they said anyway. So it's 6 minutes. They look over and there's a fucking grenade strapped to a rat.
That was pretty funny.
It's running around, and they're like, "Watch out!" And they fucking shoot it. And they talked about that in the commentary. They were like, "Oh yeah, there's a grenade with a rat on." And I was just like,
it just kind of comes out of nowhere, and you're like,
"Yeah,
it's kind of comical."
Yeah.
But I thought it was weird that in no way did Vietnam look like Southern California.
Yeah, the background for this area is horrible. Chu Chi Province, Vietnam, 1975.
I'm like, nope, California,
also,
1987.
How did you know it was me? A crucified VC, a booby-trapped rat. Who else has your style? What? So he does this shit on the regular.
You've seen that before.
He's
someone
taping
crucified
fucking,
to a ceiling.
He's a dude a Viet Cong crucified. Not just crucified, but to the fucking ceiling like Hellraiser style. And then his other thing, it's like the Joker, his other thing is he fucking wraps up rats with fucking grenades.
It would take so many people to crucify someone to a ceiling. Think of the logistics there.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. So they got 20 million in captured CIA gold, which apparently the CIA fucking has doubloons and shit, because when they open that treasure chest, it's like Pirates of the Caribbean spills out into this movie. I was like, what? And then, like you said, he's like, we don't want any part of this. See ya. And then that's when they get shot in the back.
For this movie's badass, and Martin Cove is great and kicks ass, but he also gets the hell beat out of him. He takes a lot of punishment in this movie, including getting machine gunned at the beginning.
Yeah. He's not like a Steven Seagal. He's like a more realistic person where he takes
multiple beatings.
Yeah, he takes the the shit. So, dude kills young girl, then randomly they kill some dudes that they like just had on the side tied up. Did you see that? I was like, where the fuck did these guys come from? They were just there to be killed. I thought that was pretty funny. So Cove knocks out his superior to get his way. Quan stays. Lee goes. So, Southern California today. So we fast forward, and we're no longer in the horrible Vietnam.
But I was glad that Three Step was still alive because, and I googled like how long do snakes live, and they can live like 40 or 50 years. So
yeah,
I didn't know that. I learned something.
Like turtles, where like turtles can live to be like hundreds or whatever. Like some parrots can live fucking long as hell too.
But his snake's name is Three Step.
Yes.
And I was wondering, do you think his favorite band is Lynyrd Skynyrd? Give me 3 steps, give me 3 steps, mister.
Never heard of that song before.
That's all I had. That's all I had.
That's your last note. You're like, go ahead, Mike. Put the episode on your back.
But I love that Three Step is like the smartest snake alive because he's a partner more than a pet, you know? And in the end,
that should have been on the prequel movie for this, The Rise of
Three Step.
Or
The Rise of John Steele's
Steel Justice Zero. The Rise of, John
Steel Justice Origins.
Yeah. Should have been like One Step or something. It's like, wait, what? So.
But Quan only made one mistake. They let him live.
They let Steel Justice live.
I love that line.
The funniest thing ever in this okay, that's not even true.
There's a lot of funny stuff in this movie.
So at 1435, I have a note later, and I'm going to go ahead and say it now, but a lot of these extras they got to be in this film that are not the main cast are fucking dog shit. And I'm not trying to like shit on the movie, because that actually kind of works in its favor, because it's like Cruel Jaws, where it's like, what the fuck?
So bad it's good.
But at 1435, a dude is like explaining to his boss what happened, and he's like blinking like a motherfucker, like someone's blowing like canned air in his eyes. And I still, I watched it like 5 times, and I didn't understand, because nothing else in the rest of the shit is like that. It was like, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? But yeah.
Robert Boris was like, no take 2, we got it.
Yeah. Perfect. Martin wearing huge sunglasses when he delivers the horses.
80s style.
Dude, these things were fucking out of control. I've never seen these before.
I thought the lenses were too close together in the middle. Did you notice that?
Oh, dude,
they didn't look cool.
They looked fucking weird. Yeah. They didn't look like of any time period. Yeah. It was like, are these like glasses you got from like 3050 or something? Like, what the fuck? They look so weird. So Steele lets horses go because they were going to be slaughtered and turned into glue.
He's got a good heart.
Yeah. So Don't Walk Away played on stage as Steele drinks. So they got like a band in here that's playing.
Not only a band, the Desert Rose Band. Right. I love when a band is credited in the opening credits. And I thought they were pretty good. I liked them.
Yeah, I mean, they got their money's worth. They played the whole damn song.
You get multiple songs of the Desert Rose Band.
They're like, this is fucking entertainment. So Steele is going to get arrested by the police. He says, my friend might have something to say about that. His name's Three Step, and if he bites you within 3 steps, you're dead. That's when he pulls a fucking snake out on the police that are coming to arrest him and like waves it around. And then his girlfriend's ex-wife's like, put the snake away, 3 steps gonna get hurt or whatever, you know. And he's like, okay, see, I can change. Like hell I can. And he turns and like fucking start fighting. And then his girlfriend gets involved and they both get like knocked to the floor or whatever. I thought that was funny.
So I have a lot to say to that, mainly when you get to the ending. But like John Kreese or John Steele, he commits so many crimes in this movie. Like no one he gets away with everything for no reason.
Yeah. Hey man, welcome to action films. Yeah. They both fall against. We're talking about that. You'll have a chance to talk to your friend again. Takes him away, and here's a scream. I was like, what the fuck?
That was hilarious.
It's like, so what'd you think about like the Uzis when they show up with like huge fucking silencers.
I love a good Uzi fight.
The silencers were like 10 times as big as the fucking gun. It was so good.
I doubt many movies have like more Uzi action than Steel Justice. It's like nonstop Uzis.
This was also like a big thing in the 80s where like Uzis were like the main gun that like the bad like mafia or Yakuza or whoever the bad guys were would use. They would just pull out Uzis and they were always like super accurate with them.
I always think of there's a famous picture from when Reagan got shot and like his Secret Service agent are pulling Uzis out of there. I'm like, dude, those guys are badass.
Reagan's like,
he made it.
Yeah. So, what'd you think about Lee's wife and his grandma and some random scientist getting fucking killed here?
It was pretty intense.
By who? What was it again? It was the Black Tigers?
Yeah, Black Tiger.
Black Tiger Law. I'm like...
They not only get killed, they get like executed in the street.
In a cul-de-sac. They were like, everybody's like, hey, come the fuck out here. It's like the ice cream man. Check this shit out. If you don't do what we say, you're next, motherfucker. And I was like, holy shit. How... They like have the fucking police in their fucking pocket, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. So, but the daughter is safe. She was like out getting some groceries and John Steele was taking a bath. He was like, he was underwater while all this was happening. He was like...
I love how his buddy came in while he was taking a bath just to hang out, like a buddy bath.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever done that with like a friend before.
It's like, okay, man.
Yeah, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying. So Lee crossing his eyes comically while dying. This is the guy that fucking delivered the lines while he was blinking. So I'm trying not to shit on this guy, but I think this guy... I don't know who this guy is. He could be like an awesome actor, but like these two scenes were not fucking showing Oscar-worthy shit to me. It was funny as hell, but it was like when he was dying, he's like, "Nice lady," like, crossing his eyes and shit, and I was like, "Dude, what the fuck? Who does that?" Like,
I hate to say, but
you're like, I do that whenever I go to bed. You're like, oh.
It's like an out for justice. Ow! Ooh! Ah!
What are you gonna say?
I thought that the daughter, Cammy, was way worse than anyone. Like,
this, she's got more lines than this guy.
Yeah, but the actress is clearly in her 20s or 30s, but she's playing it like she's 7 years old. It's so weird. Like, Uncle John, I love you, Uncle John.
Yeah, so like the biggest problem with that isn't how old she is. It's more so the way that she acts.
Yeah,
because
like a little kid.
You can be like super old. Well, not super old. You can't be like a crone like fucking Meg Foster. But you can be like, older and play someone younger. But like you said, like I couldn't tell if this person was maybe like mentally handicapped or something because like.
And she's wearing little kid clothes and stuff. Like
it's like it's very weird because it's like they treat her like nice and everything and but they treat her like she's like 7 and like she's clearly supposed to be like, well, I don't know, what would you say, 20, 21?
I don't know. It's so weird.
It's weird, like you said. It's like she's like, do you guys want Uncle John? Like, huh? It's fucking the shits. Yeah. I'm sorry for whoever played that character, but
it's just
maybe like those two people
I don't blame her.
Related.
I blame the director for like giving the poor direction of like having a character act so weird.
Well, that's also I think he was on the commentary, and dude, I don't know, one of those dudes that wasn't like Martin Cove didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. Like
that's hilarious.
They were like, there's a part where he says, John Steele says, or like no, it's the guy from SG-1, the captain or whatever. He's like, you don't recruit John Steele, you unleash him. And the guy goes, holy shit, dude, that would have been awesome on the poster.
It is
Martin
on the poster.
Cove said, it is on the poster. And it was just silence for a minute.
That's hilarious.
That's the biggest problem with the commentary. I'll talk more about it later, but one of the biggest problems about the commentary, it's not just Martin Cove. There's like 2 other dudes there, and like they cut him off a couple of times, and you never hear the rest of his story. And he's not pissed or anything. He's just, he's nice, but it's like
that's weird.
It's obvious that like it would have been way better with just him.
I have to talk about this real quick because Robert Boris is best known for writing the script for this movie called Electra Glide in Blue, which is like a cop movie.
What?
Electra Glide in Blue.
Okay.
It's a cop movie from the 70s, and it's a fine movie, but the ending is one of the most insane things I've ever seen in a movie. Okay. Because the main character, played by Robert Blake, is a cop, and he gets gunned down, and he dies on the street. And he's like sitting like this, dead, and the camera pulls back for 5 minutes, and then the credits start. It's just 5 minutes of nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
I've never seen anything like you'd think that's when the credits would start.
That's almost like a skit.
Yeah, it's like I could not believe it.
Yeah.
So maybe Robert Boris isn't to blame for that, but that was crazy.
Maybe he was the one on the commentary that didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. I wish I would know. I wish I would know who was on the commentary. Just wipe that off.
I'm trying not to touch my face.
Yeah. Yeah, if people haven't noticed, I don't know how you wouldn't.
Maybe the eye black wasn't a good idea.
Yeah, well. No, that's cool. We've got on the two different looks for John Steele. We've got the
iconic.
The later, and I guess I'm the early when he...
The Vietnam era.
The Vietnam era, so... So... We got some more fucking chicanery here. Quan gives speech, and a lady comes up and she says, "Thank you, goodbye." And I was like, is this fucking AOL starter disc? What is this shit? She literally, thanks you, goodbye. Okay. Lee dies. That's one of the lines. Here's
my big criticism of this movie. Like, I thought this movie is great, but the one knock is, like, I thought the villain was kind of weak. And I really didn't understand. Can you tell me what his plan is in this movie? He's like trying to buy a dock?
To be like a fucking 100% puss. He's like scared of his own shadow. Once John Steele comes after him, he's like... Like, I've never seen a villain be like more of a fucking coward. I was like, what the fuck?
Well, John Steele turns into like Freddy Krueger at the end of this movie. I'd be terrified too,
well,
dude.
Still, you gotta have an imposing villain. And he's like...
Yeah.
In some of this movie, he's in like a fucking like... And I'm not knocking this. There's nothing wrong with this. But he's wearing like a woman's fucking bathrobe at one point. And I'm like, dude, you ain't no Terry Silver. Like, get the fuck out of here with this. Like,
yeah, and any scene of him, like, I couldn't even unfollow like what his plotting, like what they were trying to do. It was like, who cares?
Yeah, like, so like the original plot was like him and some other guy were gonna like steal all this like CIA gold and they were gonna be rich. That didn't work out. So like when he comes to America, he just becomes rich out of nowhere anyway with like drugs. And then like I guess John Steele, like for no reason they killed his partner, and when they did that they essentially set John Steele to fucking destroy their fucking plan, which was just to make a bunch of money off drugs.
Yeah.
So like they essentially set up their own shit out of nowhere and then shut it down by getting John Steele involved for no fucking reason. So, yeah, I guess when you actually think about it, it doesn't make any fucking sense. But, I mean, that's like, yeah.
But who cares? Because this movie is still awesome.
Yeah, I could say that about, like, every
If it had a better villain, it'd be, like, perfection.
Yeah. That's a lot of times, too, which is kind of sad. Because villains... Honestly, I think it's harder to make a good hero than it is a good villain. Dude. So, whenever a good villain happens... Or when you have a good hero but not a good villain, it's like... Come on, like...
Martin Kove should have played the villain, too. Dual role.
Dude, it could be like any of those action films where they're like twins separated at birth.
Hell yeah.
That would actually be pretty cool because it's like one led a life of crime and one was like... has anybody ever done that before? Like an upstanding citizen and like...
Yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme did that.
Did he?
Double Impact, I think.
One was a criminal? Really?
One was... like a no good dude, and one was like a straight arrow. I think it's been a while since I've seen it.
Okay. So you gonna put him back to work? I'm not that crazy. He's not being put to work. He's being unleashed. I was like, holy shit.
Yes.
We got very music, very big Trouble in Little China-esque.
So this movie turns into a music video for like 4 minutes. It was great. I loved it. But it's just a full song performance of...
Are you talking about, like, when that lady starts singing?
Yeah.
And she's got, like, razor teeth?
The song is "You're Not a Lover" by Astral Plane.
Yeah.
And I tried to find any information on the song or the band, and there's nothing.
Yeah, that was a very interesting scene. I think it's like...
I thought it was cool.
I think it's the scene that this is most known for how weird it is.
I remember the same thing happened in Cobra with Stallone. It's just like a straight up music video right in the middle of the movie.
It's kind of like what they did earlier in the film where they had a band and they were like, well, we got time to fill, so let's just have them... Let's do extended shots of them just performing.
We got to get this thing to 90 minutes.
Steele jumps the dude at the funeral that like killed his partner. John Steele's arrested for fucking like attacking this guy or whatever. And then they send in 2 new dudes to like kill him in the prison, and like he starts beating ass with a mop. And then the guy accidentally stabs his partner. He beats these guys up or kills. I guess he kills them because like. Then at 48:54, the fellow inmates randomly congratulate him, and he says sorry, and they say for what? Or no, he says sorry, and they say for what? And then he knocks them out Four Stooges style, like one by one. He's like, boom, 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 and I'm
great.
like, and then he knocks out the cop. He's like, what happened here? And he's like, good morning, boom.
So he commits murder and escapes from prison.
Yeah,
nice.
He's like, what about those 2 dudes that like came in or whatever, are working with Quan or whatever, that came to kill me, and he's just like, I'll go check on them or whatever. He's just like, don't bother, they're having donuts with Buddha. It's like, dude,
that's awesome.
That's so good. It is kind of weird though, because the one dude somehow dies just by getting his arms broken. The one guy gets stabbed, but the other guy, he just like pulls his arms back, and then he just doesn't move anymore. And I'm like, what? So, song and dance number, like you said. I sadly had like the opposite reaction to this. I thought it was cool, but I thought it was funny because the cops start showing up, and I was like, maybe they're here to arrest the singer. Good God.
Yeah. It's rough stuff.
It was awesome, but like when she was singing, I was just like, oh, it was kind of like good, but then it was like bad. It was like a roller coaster.
Then the dancing was like laughably
hills
terrible.
and valleys. It was like, ooh. But the montage scene with Fire was actually really good.
Yeah.
So,
was it?
Well, it was way better than the other.
I think it's one of the worst training montages.
It was the song was better than the other
song was cool.
2 things in this that were. So, like, if I had to rate him, that's the best song in this by far, because they played at the end too. They're not ashamed of it. The fucking Western one's not bad. It's pretty good. The one where they do like the music video is like,
You're Not a Lover.
Holy fuck, dude. So Steele gets poisoned, cuts himself, then burns it shut.
Badass.
Yeah. So this is where we talk about the montage, set the fire with fire. So
terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool.
No, I know what you mean.
But they edit in those random shots of like them eating lunch, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
The montage should like be building up like intensity, not like
nothing. People
sitting down to lunch.
Yeah. Huh. So at 1 hour, 1:16 and 26, seen Steele yet? Robotic. No, sir. Nothing yet. More awesome day laborer actors here. Drug deal gone bad. It's talcum powder! So John Steele is like really trying to fuck them over here, and he like replaces it. And he's in there, like, in the rafters, like, fucking Batman, because his voice is projecting throughout the entire room.
That's why I was like Freddy Krueger.
Somehow.
He's like, you're all gonna die, bitch.
You're never gonna get out, Steele. I don't want to get out. I'm keeping you in.
This was so awesome. I love this scene so much. It made no sense and it was over the top, but it was great.
He also, like, randomly, like, he's like, dudes are getting reamed, and he's, like, in a tank.
The thing with the minigun?
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah. But it's also like, what the fuck? Where did that...
How did he get that? And also, it's really cool, but at the same time, like, it's kind of silly because he's just, like, doing this. He's like not doing anything, but just mowing down.
He's
dudes
in it. He's in like a tank. I mean, a lot of tanks. That's just how they like. This, I don't know.
It's not like cinematic.
Yeah,
but it's awesome.
More realistic. So then we find out that the general has betrayed him because they're like, who's this guy talking to? Who's he talking to? And by general, I mean the guy at the beginning of the movie that's like his commander. And he's just like, I'll pay you to stop him. And he like picks up an RPG and puts on one of those clear face guard things that people would put on for like the fucking pandemic. Like that would fucking do anything if like an RPG shrapnel came towards your face. He said you'd stop him, so he pays the general a bunch of money for him to just pick up a fucking rocket launcher and shoot it that he could have done too.
Yeah. Also, how'd they have a rocket launcher there and why was it there?
Well, he's like, stop him, and he's like, okay, and then he just pulls the fucking rocket launcher like out of his fucking
style.
Yeah. And then Steele, he puts like a shotgun to the dude's head and is like, ah! And like, the guy's son gets bit by like the snake.
And that was so great because he's like, oh, it's a snake. And then one of the other guys is like, he's harmless. And I'm like, why? How would he know that?
You know exactly what I was thinking. Exactly.
He's harmless.
Yeah, because General says, what? It's nothing. It ain't plugged in. Yeah. It's harmless. And I was just like, 3-step. Ender shot.
But then every time he takes a step,
yeah,
Martin Cove is counting. I'm like,
from like, yeah,
yes, he's become Freddy.
Yeah,
that's so hilarious.
Except for actually good. Snake's supposed to be a pet. It is to me. So like the general never knew that this pet was lethal, and he let John Steele just take it with him on fucking missions back in the day. Like, okay,
that's so stupid.
So he stabbed him in the back all these years. And John Steele wins the shootout because he was just like, I was always faster. And then he shoots him and he's just like, you talk too much, because that's a recurring thing. Because he's just like, dude, let's just get to the action.
It was cool that they had an old-fashioned quick draw.
Yeah. I thought so too. Because there would be no, I mean, it made sense because, you know, this guy's older. And I mean, they're both older, but by this point, like, you're supposed to believe that this guy, you know, could keep up with John Steele, and that's not practical. Yeah. So it actually makes sense.
And just when I thought this movie couldn't get more awesome, there's a katana fight. I'm like, yes, this is my shit.
Except for it's like the worst shit ever. The dude just runs. It's like, so he takes like, he says, "Welcome to the party, Steele." I'm like, huh? He was fucking already here and like killed like
everyone, 2
mini bosses, and you're like the main guy. Right. Like, what are you fucking talking about?
Yeah.
So he has like John Steele's ex as like his like hostage, and Steele shoots him. He's like, hell, I'll help you out.
So wait, how did he have her hostage? Why did he have her hostage if they didn't know if he ambushed them at that place?
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
Did he like bring her with him, I guess? Like, what?
We found the one plot hole in this movie.
Yeah, like, what? Where the what?
Yeah, she just comes out of nowhere.
It's like the fucking like rocket launcher that the dude just pulls out of his ass.
Like the plot of like a Double Dragon, like.
So Steele shoots his ex.
That was a good moment.
Yeah, Arnold style. Remember when I told you to call Bennett twice? It's like, dude,
consider that a divorce.
Why the fuck? He's like, call Bennett, and then he's like about to leave, and he's like, call Bennett. Okay, dude, do we have to do that second part? He says, welcome to hell, John. I'm like, is he gonna make him watch fucking Mooseport for a month? Wake up, time to die. So, slowest sword fight of all time, and then fucking the dude just runs. It's like, this literally the whole, if you want to imagine this fucking whole end thing here, it's like, he'll do something to like John Steele like fucking hit him in the balls, and then he'll like run away, or he'll like throw dirt in his eye and like run away because it's like
because he's way overmatched.
He's like a complete fucking coward. So he puts a grenade on the grate to keep him in the sewers, and draws his sword, and like he like blows it up with like a grenade launcher, and he like pulls out his sword, and he's like, and then puts it back and like thinks better of it and runs, and I'm like, I have never fucking seen this in a movie before, where the guy was gonna like ambush another guy, like the bad guy, and then the bad guy just says fuck that and runs. Like I've never seen that before. So at 129, at first I thought this was like a random hot air balloon they had set up here, but this was like a lift that just lifted them to like another level for some reason.
You gotta have the elevator level,
which like made no sense. Like, so like they run out. The bad guy runs out to this pallet lifter, and he's on it. Nobody touches anything, and like as soon as John Steele grabs onto it, it just starts going up, and it goes up forever, and then eventually it just gently sets them both down on like a higher level. And I was like, what the fuck? When I was like listening to the commentary, there was something they talked about that like they were talking about how they were saying that they were trying to get like another shoot it somewhere else where like a bridge would open, so they were supposed to like go up through that, and then the bridge would come down, and it would like they would drop onto that and fight. But here it was just like
that's pretty janky.
Yeah. So at this end part, like I thought I knew it was gonna happen, but like it's not what happened.
Nothing could prepare you.
Well, I thought something more out of control was going to happen.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, because I thought what was going to happen is I thought the dude was going to go up in this thing, and then, like, John Steele was going to shoot it with the fucking grenade launcher and just blow him the fuck up.
I thought he was just going to fall to his death. Because, like, he had to go.
Oh, no, it's an action film, dude. I knew exactly what the fuck was going to... And once, you know, I don't know. So, I can't say I knew that this was going to happen. So... They start having, like, this, like, sword fight, and there's a cool, like, action parry move by, like, Martin Cobb with the sword and stuff.
He's dual-wielding swords.
Yeah. And there's some cool stuff going on there. And, so but those swords get taken away, and he's like, he's like, there's only one law. Black Tiger Law. And he goes to, like, attack him, and, like, he disarms him, and kind of, like, fucking holds him against the thing, and it's just like, I guess like holding his arm behind him, and then it shows like a close-up of like a pin being pulled out of a grenade that's on like the bad guy's belt, and he like judo flips him over the fucking railing, and he fucking like, as soon as that happened, it's like exactly what's gonna fucking happen at that point. He's falling to his death. But before he can hit the ground, he, like, turns into fucking dust.
He explodes.
Yeah.
And I'm, like, jumping out of my seat cheering. It was so awesome.
I was a little disappointed there was, like, really nothing.
Yeah, he just
like,
disintegrated.
He just turned into, like, a fucking broken light bulb or something. Like, there was no, like, clothes. Yeah. There was no fucking blood. It was like the tamest explosion.
I don't think this topped John Travolta and Broken Arrow. But this is, like,
you mean the part where the dude, where he gets fucking... hit with a fucking missile?
Yeah.
No way, dude.
This is really good, though. I loved it. I thought it was awesome.
It could have been a little better. I mean, I was a little disappointed there was no, like, blood at all, or, like, even nothing left behind. It was literally
dummy action.
One grenade just essentially, it like, transmorphed him into, like light. So
at this point, John Steele is a wanted murderer, fugitive from the law, and he's just killed like 10 people and like destroyed.
He's also like assaulted police officers.
Yeah. And the cops are just like, "Great job, John. See you in the next adventure."
Once he like kills this guy that was an upstanding citizen for the community.
Yeah. John Steele, he's not a cop. He's just a civilian.
Right. And the one dude, like, he's just a fucking entrepreneur. So the cop says, "Wait. That's my car," as they drive off. So they stole his car.
He committed so many crimes in the end of this movie.
They got ADR also before they drive off, where somebody says get in. I think the woman says it to John. And then we play once again. The credits roll to Karate Kid-esque fire with song and stuff.
And I didn't time it, but I think it's less than 2 minutes from the villain exploding to the credits.
Yes.
Which you want that time to be as small as possible.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, good job.
Yeah. I'll talk about the commentary here, some of the stuff that stood out to me. Martin Kove talks about the logos. He's like, I haven't seen these logos in a long time.
So good.
Yeah. Long Beach as Vietnam.
Yeah, no shit.
Talking about who's dead and still alive, like IRL. And I was like, this is kind of depressing. Off to a depressing start. He was actually doing Cagney and Lacey while he did this film.
Oh,
he
wow.
said the best shape of his life. He was doing Body by Jake, which used to be a big thing back in the day. Wish everyone would shut up, but Martin Kove seems to be like, he has a lot to say, but keeps getting interrupted. I guess, like, when they went underground, like, Martin Kove had read a book called Tunnels of Tucci, which was, like, about, like, the tunnels in, like, Vietnam and stuff like that they would dig. Martin Kove says he's a bigger fan of, like, weaponry than, like, open hand and karate and stuff like that. So I guess, like, whenever he was given a chance to actually use weapons, he was all about it because he owns, like, you know, actual, like, weapons at home too and stuff, and uses them, like katanas and stuff like that. I thought that was cool. Martin Kove was talking about how his joints hurt now from doing these, like, fucking stunts back in the day. I don't know who it was, but someone on the commentary laughed when the family got fucking Uzi.
Jesus.
I don't think it was Martin Kove, but I was like, what? And then they're all giving him huge praise for seemingly getting so much done and keeping the film together. Like,
nice.
I guess there was a lot of issues with. They didn't really name names, but they were saying, like, producer, this and that kind of thing. At one point, they shot so much blood up Martin Kove's nose. They asked the guy that did it to leave and not return. So I guess it was like
he messed up.
Yeah. So he owns Wagasashi and swords. There's a part where, like, he's on screen with his shirt off, and they're like, "Oh, look at this beefcake!" Like, about Martin Kove, and he says, "Beefcake, yes." And I was like cracking up. Also, on second viewing with this commentary, I realized when they get into the car at the end, someone graffitied a wiener onto a wall behind Martin Kove. Nice. Overall, Martin Kove talks about, like, some of the people he got into the film was, like, his teachers, like his Shotz and stuff like that, and was just like, this is the guy that got me in, and, you know, we gave him a job because he was my Shot, and I guess that's like another word for, like, his master or something.
Okay.
This thought was really cool. I just wish that they're, you know, you might get something out of it if you want to get the King of the Lorber, like the newer one or whatever, and listen to the commentary. It's just, if you're doing commentaries from now on, please let the actors talk. So that's
annoying.
My only complaint. But, you know, the stuff he did talk about was cool.
Nice.
So yeah,
I'm glad you watched that.
Yeah, I am too. I was for some reason I thought that there was going to be like special features besides that, but I think I have other ones that I've bought recently that have that on, or that I had. You never know what you're going to get with stuff like that. So
I was just looking it up. This movie was barely released. Like, it made $1.2 million.
Yeah,
and like it came out the same weekend as Ishtar.
Jesus.
See our previous episode.
Uh-oh.
Man, this should have been number one instead of Ishtar. Good lord.
Yeah, holy fuck, dude.
That's depressing.
Yeah.
But overall, I loved it. I just had a couple other notes. Bernie Casey's in this movie. He was Felix Leiter in Never Say Never Again.
Yeah, another great adventure.
Best Felix. And then
I think he was probably, honestly, now that I think about it, he was
good.
Really good.
Yeah. And then I always like when Al Leong shows up.
Yeah, that was someone I didn't write down, but he's in Big Trouble in Little China. Yeah. He's in a ton of stuff.
Die Hard.
Yeah, he's in every movie you can think of.
He's awesome.
Well, not every, but...
And then the main bad guy, Quan.
Yes.
I thought he looked familiar, and it's because he's in The Man with the Golden Gun. He's like Bond's contact. And,
okay.
Thailand, I think.
Never say never again. It's like, wait, what? Actually, that's funny about Bond, because when I was at the store earlier today, they were playing
Live and Let Die?
License to Kill, I think.
What?
Yeah.
Dude.
It was just randomly on the radio. I was like, hey.
Yeah. That's great.
That sucks. Fuck you. Who is this? Fuck you. So, it's a great time, man.
Yeah, this movie's awesome.
This.
It's really good. I'm going to go 8.95.
Nice.
Dock 1 point for the stuff we talked about. I'm like, I'll allow it, but watch yourself, counselor. How about you?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Probably 8.95. I want to give it a 9.95, but I can't in good conscience say I'll watch this again recently. And like the other movies that I give 9.95 to, I'm like, man, these are fucking totally worth it and stuff. Like, so, but 8.95 is like near perfection.
Yeah.
So, great movie.
Martin Cove was great. Loved it. Great choice. Great picks.
Well, you know.
Look, I don't want to toot my own horn, but beep.
But I'm God. I'm like, I'm a god to you, so just worship at my feet. And I didn't even have to kill anybody to be treated like one. So, I felt like I had to hit it out of the park after Mean Gene May.
You did.
So, after Superman, after Steel Justice, what's next for the buddies?
We're going art house. You ready?
Guess I'm gonna be.
We're gonna watch the experimental art film directed by George Lucas, THX 1138.
Sweet. Okay.
And then we'll pair it with the pilot episode of the sci-fi franchise created by William Shatner, Tech War.
Tech War.
So it'll be a sci-fi themed.
I remember that show.
You do?
Yeah.
It's actually TEK. That makes it more cool.
Like Takai. Tech War.
Did you watch Tech War?
I remember, I think like back in the day, seeing like commercials for it and stuff. And
dude, it's like,
I don't remember if I watched it or not, but I was like,
he wrote a series of books, and there's a TV series and like a video game. Like it was.
Well, it's also like, I think William Shatner was like the one person that has tried to become a fucking huge star again out of all the dudes from Star Trek, just on any series, because it's like every couple years he'll have a fucking show. Even nowadays, it's like in almost every single one of them, every other one is like him just narrating a paranormal show or something. Like, I can't believe fucking ghosts, could they exist? And I'm like, dude, this is like the 50th time you've done this. Not like I'm shitting on him, I'm just saying like that's kind of like his MO. So maybe the Tech War will be the one to be shocking.
It should be fun, hopefully.
Yeah. And THX, that's one I've never watched, but I've always... that was like his movie before he made Star Wars, right?
Mm-hmm.
His
first movie.
College deal, or was it after that?
Well, he made a short in college, and then he made a feature-length version of it afterwards.
Nice. He just added like 30 minutes of like music
videos.
He's like, it's a cruel summer. I'm like, whoa.
So when you sent me that picture of George Lucas the other day, I was like, oh man, you're in charge for some George Lucas magic.
My ass is in charge, brother. Yeah, it's going to be good. It'll be interesting.
All right, another great episode in the books.
Yeah, man.
It was fun. My only problem is like when we were filming, I felt like something weird. I felt like something bit me.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know, it kind of hurts. But other than that, I'm good.
Okay.
All right. See you next week.
Yeah, see ya. 1, 2, 3.
Ah!
Bye.
Gloria. You ruined it.
It's like the grossest sound.
I know. You're grossing everyone out.
What the fuck was that?
Dude, it looked awesome.
1, 2. What the fuck? Hold on, let's try it again.